Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello here, and welcome back to another episode of Everything Possible here in Dark Souls 2, and today we tackle the Undead Crypt. First things first, we have a Radiant Lifegem to kick off the episode, and now let's actually get into the heart of the area. I would like to point out that during the recording of this episode, I was having a little bit of technical complications, and you will notice that there are a few cuts in this episode, so please bear with me as the transitions hopefully are smooth this time. I know before there have been some issues with the transitions that I use, but so far it looks like it's okay on this one. So the room that we were just about to enter has 3 Leydia witches at the end, as well as a number of these hollows. Pick up a Triclops snake Troches. So what I like to do is actually run past everything after you kill a couple of the hollows, and I prefer to actually tackle this room from the opposite side. The reason is, having the Leydia witches a bit closer makes it a lot easier to actually plan your attack, as opposed to trying to kill them from the opposite side of the room. Now you can melee them to death, however they do have pretty significant HP for a standard enemy, and they also have some pretty high resistances. So it's up to you how you want to tackle it. I'm just going to show you the tactic that I like to use. And while I'm killing them, just a word of note, the Leydia witches, they can drop a few different items. They can drop both Simpletons and Skeptic spices. They can drop the Black Leydia set, which the helm will add +1 to your intelligence stat. They can also drop the Black Witch's staff, which is the most versatile staff in the game. And what makes it so versatile is that it can cast sorceries, miracles, and it can cast all hexes, both staff-based hexes and chime-based hexes. So if you're someone who likes to have very minimal inventory, but you want to be able to use all the different types of magic that are available, you may want to stay here and farm for that Black Witch's staff. And there we picked up a Simpleton spice. And in this next room, we have a warning that we should not produce light, and heed the warning. If you come in here with a torch or with cast light, both Agdayne and his guards here will attack you. If you come in here and you don't have any light, then you're safe. So just keep that in mind. If you want a good fight, go ahead and produce some light.
Tell me what.
Learn the Have Mercy gesture from Agdayne, and then we take a look at some of his wares. The Shield of the Insolent, as the description just said, does increase your stamina regeneration by about 5%. And we'll go ahead and buy some of those human effigies before we leave. And we're going to be returning to Agdayne after we take out Velstadt, because he's going to give us some gifts after meeting the king. We have a soul item here. And right around the corner, we do have 2 of the Golden Knights to deal with, and we'll just use our lightning spears to deal with them fairly easily. When I'm running a miracle type build against these enemies, because they often have their shields up, my tactic typically is to cast it right before I know they're about to attack, so I know the lightning will land before they're able to hit me or before they're able to get their shield back up. And that one did drop a green blossom for us. Now my tactic doesn't always work. None of my tactics always work. In fact, you could argue my tactics rarely work. But they work for me. Hop down here, and I suggest you hop down on the right side instead of the left as I did, because the fall is a lot shorter. We get the Triclops snake Troches, Simpleton spice, and the soul of a great hero. And then we climb the ladder all the way up so we can find an iron chest. I'm really having fun with this pickaxe, by the way. Alright, inside this chest we have the crushed Eye Orb and we have a fire seed. Now the crushed Eye Orb will function much like the Black Eye Orb in Dark Souls 1 in that it will allow you to invade the world of a jerk. Now I know the description doesn't specifically state that it's of a jerk, but in the first game it's Lautrec who kills Anastasia, and in this game, well, it's the Nameless Usurper, and we'll find out exactly who that is a little bit later on. And hopping down to this little area and lighting a torch will give us the option of lighting this sconce here, or this statue, which will actually light up the area for us. which is a pretty cool effect. but it'll also give us access to this wooden chest right here, which has yet another soul vessel for us. So for those of you who want to try out different builds without creating new characters, make sure you're paying attention to the soul vessel locations, because they will help you to switch between your stats very easily. And after you get off the ladder, make sure you have the option to pick up the item before you actually try to pick it up. And we can get our Soul of a Hero. And I thought maybe I could jump through that door, and it doesn't look like you can. Now in this next room is when things start to get interesting. There are statues in this room and one of the other rooms coming up that will spawn Leydia pyromancers at random times. Now in the next room, it's even more dangerous because there are at least 5 of those statues, and anytime a hollow rings a bell that's nearby, one set will spawn. However, destroying the statues prevents the Leydia pyromancer from spawning. We have a Simpleton Spice and 2 more black firebombs. And we also have the Leydia White Hood, the first piece of the set that we'll be picking up. Now, I like to use Firestorm, but any of the area effect spells work really well. Typically, one cast of the Firestorm is enough to then break the statue with one single punch. We have the Magic Shield, Triclops Snake Troches, and then in this corner, we have a Titanite Chunk and a Petrified Dragon Bone. A word about that Magic Shield we just picked up. If you're looking for a shield with very high magic defense with very little cost to actually have it upgraded, the Magic Shield, when infused with a Magic Stone, will actually give you 100% magic resistance, and you don't even have to upgrade it past the normal state that it's in. Just infuse it with the Magic Stone is enough. Back in the corner, we climb the ladder. There is another Leydia Witch for us to take out. And because of their versatile magic use, I was poisoned. But not a big deal, because now we can open this chest and we can get the Dried Fingers item, Bonfire Ascetic, and Twinkling Titanite. Now the Dried Fingers works just like it did in Dark Souls 1. It will reset the invasion timer. So if you have been invaded and use the Dried Fingers, you can get invaded again and more often. So if you're looking for more PvP, Dried Fingers might be an item you want to use. And it's not a consumable. You can use it over and over. Bracing Knuckle Ring +2, this will cut the durability loss by 50% on weapons and 45% on armor and rings. Grab this soul item, destroy this other statue. And 2 hits, not a big deal. Now these Leydia pyromancers not only are very good with their pyromancy spells, but they have excellent melee attacks, so you want to be able to kill them quickly. Leydia White Robe. And the Leydia White set, by the way, only has 3 pieces. It has the hood, it has the robe, and it has the gauntlets. Picking up this item will give us a Divine Blessing and a Soul of a Hero, and then of course we're invaded by the Nameless Usurper. So we're going to take her out one last time, and then we'll be able to get our revenge at the end of the episode. And I do say her, and you probably already put it together, and thinking back, I probably already said who it is, but again, spoiler alert, we will find out at the end of the video, so if you're not looking to find out who it is just yet, you may want to skip the last minute or 2. Make sure you get this illusory wall by activating it. It's right in the center of this wall. And inside this chest, we have the Avelyn and the Heavy Bolt 15. The Avelyn used to be a favorite in PvP, especially for the quote-unquote Avelyn build. Unfortunately, they did nerf that in the 1.06 calibration, revision, update, whatever it was. So it's not nearly as effective, although you still see it from time to time. I say that it was unfortunately nerfed. I never liked going up against them, so for me it wasn't unfortunate at all. Now these Imperious Knights, dual wielding these massive shields, will do some incredible damage and will destroy your stamina and stability even on most shields. So be careful, attack them from range, bait them into attacking, and then kill them. It's much easier. Got the Imperious Leggings here. They do drop their full Imperious set, so if you like the look of their armor, which I think is actually pretty cool looking, feel free to farm them. And a quick transition here due to some complications. This area is the dangerous area. This is the one that has multiple of the statues and 2 different bells that the hollows can ring in order to spawn the Leydia pyromancers. So I take my time. I'm going to destroy all the statues because I do want to be able to loot in peace, but if you want to run through here, if none of these items interest you, that's your choice. You can hear the bell now, and it really just starts to hit the fan quickly. If you want to make this fight a little bit more bearable, like I do, you can use this hallway here to actually activate the leashing effect on the pyromancers, and you can give yourself some space to heal or to recharge your spells, whatever you need to do. Got the prisoner's gloves. These hollows can drop the prisoner set, including the hood that I'm wearing now, although it is a different variety. It isn't a full face hood, it actually only covers half the face. And yes, even though they are called the pyromancers, they will cast sorceries as well, so keep that in mind. And you can see the statue, not the one right in front of me, but the one to the right. That is the one that has the bell. But there is also one in an alcove, so you need to be wary that just because there's no hollows near this bell, they could still ring one. After all the statues are destroyed, they will continue to ring the bell, even though no more pyromancers can spawn. So if you hear the bell, but you know all the statues are destroyed, don't worry about it. You are safe from everything but the hollows themselves. And if you're wondering why I'm not using a stronger pyromancy AoE like Fire Tempest or Chaos Storm, it's because I already had 2 casts of Firestorm, so it just makes it easier and I don't have to use as many herbs in order to refill my magic. One more statue, and then we are free to loot. And that pyromancer did drop a Dark Knight Stone for us. We get some more Troches. Some lozenges, if you will. Another Dark Knight Stone. Radiant Lifegem and a Homeward Bone. We have some Leydia Gauntlets. And there's the second bell. Unfortunately, you cannot destroy the bell. In fact, if you attack it, it will ring. We got the White Hood again. We got the Gauntlets again. Over here we have a Faint Stone. A third pair of Gauntlets. The Mace of the Insolent and Soul of a Hero. Now, the Mace of the Insolent is a very interesting and very cool weapon. And I'll touch on the Mace in just a moment after I tell you that you'll pick up a Large Soul of a Proud Knight and a Dragon Charm. And now I'll start scanning for the hidden wall in this room. Now, the Mace of the Insolent, when you use the strong attack, it can cast chime-based hexes and miracles. Now, the really cool thing about that is that if you can actually pick up a second one, you can dual wield them, which will give you the ability to buff both of your maces with weapon buffing spells like Great Magic Weapon. It is the only way in the game that you can actually accomplish that. And here's the illusory wall in this room. I looked for it for a while, even though it's actually fairly obvious where it is, because if you notice at the base of the wall, there is this molding, I guess is what it is. And you notice that there's a break in the wall, and there's a break on 2 walls. Got some more Troches, yay. One of them has the illusory wall with the Ferrous Lockstone, and directly opposite will be the Ferrous Lockstone wall that we can break in order to get the chest inside. And this hollow was kind enough to drop the Prisoner's Hood, the one that I was just talking about that only covers half the face that I prefer the look of, and it still has the added effect of increasing your drop rate. But inside the chest we have Allenford Staff and Great Lightning Spear, so we have our second casting of Great Lightning Spear. Allenford Staff overall is not a terrible staff for sorceries and hexes. It does have a rather high intelligence requirement though, so if you're not building up your intelligence, Allenford Staff might not be the right staff for you. After we come out of that hallway, run to the left and activate this lever, which will open up a shortcut back to the bonfire if we need it. And in this wooden chest, we will pick ourselves up a Magic Stone and a Dark Knight Stone. And here's the final gauntlet to Velstadt. Now, you probably already know about this already, but once you hop down the stairs, run back under and kill this hollow quickly. He will not respawn, but if you leave him alive, he will ring that bell, which causes 4 Leydia pyromancers to spawn, which only makes this area that much more difficult. Now I am going to speed this up because there are several knights in the way and it's a pretty standard fight, and I do a pretty terrible job of taking them out anyway, so just enjoy the very rapid show. Luckily, my trusted pickaxe was there to take care of me until it became at risk. And I thought maybe I could get them up on that ledge with Firestorm. Unfortunately, no such luck. Yeah, you know what? Don't even care if you're going to block that. Once you're that low health, you're mine. And now I'm really glad that I maxed out my Estus. And with the last knight dead, we are going to go ahead and summon Agdayne for this fight, because he is going to make a great distraction. Just taking a peek around the room while he spawns. And let's go take out the King's Defender, Velstadt. With Velstadt, this fight goes very easily when you have a summon. However, even when it's solo, it's not a difficult fight because he does telegraph most of his moves. The most devastating attack that you really need to worry about is when he charges at you, because it's somewhat unpredictable as to when he's actually going to swing his chime. But as long as you can keep backpedaling and you roll at the right moment, you'll be fine. However, Agdayne does a great job tanking. I have no complaints about him whatsoever, so I can just spam my lightning spear until Velstadt is dead, with the exception of one Firestorm just to make things interesting. Now while he is buffing, he does have much higher defenses. However, use this opportunity to get some free damage on him anyway, or use it to heal or to replenish your spells if needed. Just a few more lightning spears later, King's Defender is dead. So we pick up the soul of Velstadt, and now we actually get to meet the fabled king, who's probably seen better days. Although, his legs are really in shape. Like, this guy must be doing squats 24/7. Unless we're down in here and he just kind of drags his sword around. Now that we picked up the King's Ring, we are going to go visit Agdayne again to get some added items from him. Now the King's Ring does serve more than one purpose. It does open up the doors that tell you to produce a symbol of the king as long as you're wearing it, but while you're wearing it, it also does increase the damage of your pyromancies.
You have met the king.
Now that we talk to Agdayne after we've met King Vendrick,
take these with you.
We get Dark Drift and we get Agdayne's armor set. Dark Drift is a katana type weapon, and it's really kind of cool looking because the blade is transparent. It's nothing too special other than that, but you can also pick up a second one if you want to, because you can kill Agdayne after you've received it as a gift, and then you can go buy a Dark Drift from Melentia. Back in Majula, we're going to talk to Mullen. And at this point in the game, I forgot to show this off, but you can pick up the Looking Glass armor, and now that we've killed Velstadt, his armor is available for sale as well. However, now that we have the crushed Eye Orb in our possession, it's time to go deal with the Nameless Usurper once and for all. I have the Profound Still Hex equipped, which will prevent magic users from casting any spells while they are under the duration of this hex, and it's going to be very useful in this fight. And you can see the crushed eye stirs, and unfortunately the Nameless Usurper is none other than this miracle using and abusing liar, Leydia. Using the eye, we actually invade her world, and she is very dangerous if you allow her to get her spells off. So we're going to go ahead and use Profound Still. As long as that aura is around her, she can't do anything except hit us with her Idol's Chime. And while I would love to say that she's very little threat at this point, she still one-shots me. I had to do this fight multiple times in order to actually take Leydia out, and that's because if you let her get close, the punch that she does with the Idle Chime does an obscene amount of damage for a simple punch, so keep that in mind as well. If you want to make this fight very safe but very long, you can stun lock her indefinitely if you just use an item that has very little stamina consumption like daggers or cestus. You can even punch her to death if you really want to. We used our second Profound Still because it did wear off, and just a few more Resin Souls and she is ours. With her dead, we get a bunch of items. We have the Rotunda Lockstone, so we can still use this mechanism. We get the Soothing Sunlight Miracle, which is a great AoE healing spell that will heal you and your allies and has very good range. We also get the Idle Chime, and we get the Saints set yet again. By the way, if you're looking for that Soothing Sunlight Miracle, or if you're looking to complete the trophy or the achievement for all miracles, that is the only way to get that miracle. Now that we have the King's Ring, we will travel to the Fort Road in the Shaded Woods, so we can actually open up our first King's Door. If you watch the Everything Possible Before a Boss series, then you know that that pool of water down below is where we picked up the red Tearstone Ring. However, just a little bit up the road is when we'll come to that door, and again, you probably already know this, but you do have to actually be wearing the ring in order to have the doors open. The nice thing is, if you don't want to continue wearing it, you only need to wear it to get the door to begin opening. Once the mechanism has started moving, you can take the ring off and it will open all the way. This is me channeling my inner kingship in order to force the door open faster. That doesn't work. I made that up. So here we are in Aldia's Keep. Now we can already see some items. We're not going to pick up any of them just yet. We are going to run right to the shack and activate the bonfire, say hello, possibly for the last time, to a very dear friend of ours. And that is going to wrap up this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you learned. If I missed something, let me know that too. And I will catch you guys next time in Aldia's Keep.